You guys will be amazing. Don't stress. Okay.
من زينة الإيمان أن السلام حياة قد جاء في القرآن أن السلام.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to iTREND on ITV. I'm your host, Zaheerah Bham-Ismail. This Ramadan has been such a blessed month. It is literally flying by. The days are short, the nights we all seem to not be getting enough time to do everything that we want. And before we know it, we see people placing Eid orders saying, Eid orders are closed, it's time. Then you know you're heading right into Eid already. But we hope that during these last few days and the last weeks that we have, that you make the most of this time. Today in our studio with us, we have people who are truly dynamic entrepreneurs who've put together a niche market, something that we haven't seen before, and that's why we wanted to have them on iTrend. So many of us focus on what we're doing for ourselves for Eid, what clothes we're getting, but these ladies came up with Babaya, a range catered specifically for children with abayas. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the studio.
Salam Zaheerah, Jazakallah for having us here.
Yasmin Khan and Saajida Amod.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. It's such a pleasure having you here. You are two young dynamic entrepreneurs. We've been following your story online. We've been watching how you found this market. Tell us a little bit about, firstly, how did the company even come to start?
So, it actually started when my father-in-law passed away. My daughter was 3 months old at the time, and I was putting on my abaya. It was the day of the 3 nights, and I decided, no, I want an abaya for my child. And at that point, I was like, okay, it's Sunday. I'm not going to get anything at this stage because I'm lastminute.com. Also,
sounds like the same.
Also, I knew I couldn't think of one place I would be able to go find it to buy it. And then I realized, like, I have a sister who sews.
Always a blessing.
So I started chatting to her, and she just kept telling me, no, you're mad. And I decided, okay, I'm coming to visit. And then I got there, and somehow I managed to convince her. We found a scrap of black fabric, we found some gold braiding, and the next minute we were busy sewing the abaya for my baby. I didn't even know how to use a needle and a cotton, and I was putting on the braiding.
Fantastic.
And then when I got to the Mayat house, everybody was just in awe with her in this abaya. And I told my sister, like, you know, we had such great reviews, I really think we should go into baby abayas. And once again she told me, no, you're mad. And then
I think it was about 6 months later in June, because the funeral was in January, unfortunately. In June, I was at business school, and it was something that my professor said about your comfort zones and how you need to push yourself with comfort zones. And it was actually a lecture on business acumen. And that's when I decided, okay, maybe this is the time. So I went home that Friday and I told my sister, I'm ready to start abaya. And that's how baby's first abaya was born.
And then I was so annoyed at her because I was at home all this time, and the Friday she comes, and the Monday I'm starting work. So I was like, you're timing.
There's a purpose for everything. Last week's guest said there's a seasonal purpose, and I think you embody that. There's definitely a seasonal purpose, yes, and why it came into your life at that point as well.
I totally agree.
When you say that this was something you decided, you found your niche market, pushing our comfort zone, so many of us often get stuck into the zone where we think this is all we need to be and where we need to be. How scary was it, or how daunting was it to actually take that step and moving forward with this idea?
So I think I'm the type of person that loves challenges. So even though I knew I was going to be starting work, when she said let's go, I was like, okay, I'm ready. But then it was, when we actually got it was 1 week before Eid, and we had no idea how we were going to courier things. Like, we were just learning all of this as and when it was happening. So that was quite scary, but luckily we had some guidance from other people that had businesses. And yeah.
And that makes a big difference, I think, to have that support structures in place where people can help you with it.
Yes.
So tell us about when you started on this Friday, when you had this discussion that you are now going to start baby's first abaya. Tell me about what were the first things you started with. What was the first concepts?
So firstly, we were like, we need a logo.
Yes.
Luckily, we had a family member. He had just finished his graphic design, so we went to him and we gave him our idea of our product, and that's when he came up with the logo. If you can look at it, it's actually like a lady with a scarf covering the baby. And then we obviously started fabric shopping the Saturday, and yeah, we went in and we just kind of got crazy because there were so many things inspiring us in terms of the fabric. And then we had to start our pattern making.
Yes,
And that was a lot of research.
I'm sure.
And then we also decided for our first range to do the open abayas, because it would have just been more versatile, and it creates enough space for movement for babies, etc. So we designed our first range around the open abaya, and yeah.
And also because it was easy to create in a short space of time. We literally had like 12 abayas 1 week before Eid that we put out there, and there was just this overwhelming response, and we were like, oh, we weren't ready for this.
That's absolutely amazing. And obviously with social media, things have become so much easier in terms of putting your name out there and letting people know what products you have.
Definitely. Like we started only on Instagram, and everybody was like, are you online? And we were like, no, not yet, we're going to get there, inshallah. Then we decided we need to also go onto Facebook, but basically we've used only Instagram, and we're growing. We now, shukr alhamdulillah, 4,000 followers.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
And inshallah growing more from there as well.
Inshallah.
Tell us about these ranges. How often are you doing them? Is it something that people can contact you at any time through the year, or is it only during Eid that we have something trending for kids?
So currently I think it's more towards Eid time only. Going forward we do want to be all year running, but we are seasonal, because when it comes to Eid, that's when everybody is like looking for us.
Yes. And then the main thing people always want to know is price range, because are we putting ourselves, we also see that things have become so exorbitantly priced all the time. Is this something accessible for us to be able to say, oh, we can afford to put our children into these amazing items?
I think it is. It definitely is. We range our prices from 300 Rand upwards. But if you compare it to, more Woolworths, etc., this is a custom design. It's a custom product.
Yes.
So 300 Rand is quite affordable.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell us what makes you different. What makes you stand out from everyone else? I know we're going to get into what the trends are for kids for this year, but what are the things that make you as a company, as sisters, stand out?
So I think that
Okay, sorry, I'm going to take this one. I think growing up, we also had a bit of our own unique style. So we were the type of people that didn't really go with, what everybody else was going with. And even though we try to create our garments around the trends that are currently there, we still have our own individuality that we try to put into each garment. And I think that's what makes us stand out. So if you look at our abayas versus, the other abayas for maybe adults, there is a bit of a difference. Like, people can basically differentiate between a babaya and an abaya.
Absolutely. And I see on screen as well, we have some fabulous pictures of what you have. I must say, I didn't realize, at which point did you also extend into putting in the kurtas, the thobes for little boys?
So the first year when we started, we only did girls abayas, and then we had all the mums of boys that were like, don't you have anything for boys? And we're like, okay, we really need to cater for them. And that's when we did this second Eid range with the abaya, the kurta romper.
Yes. And that's absolutely lovely. I love the ideas of these rompers because it looks so cute, and then you still got that accessibility and that comfortability and versatility of being able to move around and to go anywhere you need to go and still be a baby in it.
Yes, babies generally, when they, from age 0 up to maybe 6 months before they start crawling, they keep their legs in the air.
Yes.
So if you have the kurta, you don't really see their legs because it's so like towards themselves. So now with the kurta romper, you can still see a bit of the legs as they move.
So you really thought about this completely in terms of their development and what works for them at that age. That's fantastic, alhamdulillah. I think that must be the first that I've heard of so much of in-depth research going into how kids are developing. What ages do you have these items for?
So when we started, we went with the kurta romper up until 18 to 24 months. But the feedback we got was that people, after their babies turn 1 year, they don't really want them in the romper anymore because they want them to look like toddlers. So we went up until 9 to 12 months this Eid, but now we may need to go back into 12 to 18 because we see people still want it again. So we can't get our ages right at this stage.
And then the maximum age that you go up to for children?
For our girls, this year we went up to 7 to 8 years.
Okay, and I get a sneaking feeling that this is going to keep increasing as time goes, because it looks like you're building quite a nice brand for yourself. And when I look at feedback that people give you, it's exceptionally positive as well.
Yes.
And when we started, it was actually 0 to 18 to 24 months. And then now we've taken it up to 7 to 8 years.
That's fantastic, alhamdulillah. In terms of being young entrepreneurs and people who are holding down normal 8 to 5 jobs as it is, and we said off camera that, whenever you're doing a home business, it means you're working 24/7. It doesn't mean you come home at 5 and then you do a little bit of an hour. It means you're just constantly working. And I know it must be taking so much of your time up. Thank goodness you're sisters so you can deal with this. But what are the tips that you can give out to our viewers in terms of starting home businesses? What are the pitfalls that they need to look out for? Because you are young and dynamic ladies who are in the business field. You've already had a little bit of experience in that sense that has brought that to your fold. Yes. You've got the research underhand. I think people kind of think, oh, you know, a home business, I can just start something up tomorrow. So what are your suggestions with regards to home entrepreneurs?
I would say don't let anything hold you back. So if you feel you have a good enough idea, take it out, you know, test the market, go for it. We always tend to not want to take that big leap, and then things, once you're in the business, things just work out.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But more importantly, I think you have to plan, because you need to make sure that you have time for everything, because like you say, it's around the clock. So what we tend to do is, because we're quite lucky, because now and again when one of us isn't feeling up for it, we have someone else to step in. But your support structure needs to be on point, and you need to always, like I say, plan your time so that you have so many hours dedicated to your business, but still time for your family and your leisure.
Then I have to ask you this, because as Muslim women we know we have multifaceted roles. How do you balance it all?
So on a Saturday when we're running around, I have my husband who's standing in for me, and he's looking after baby, alhamdulillah. And we try to end our day by like 2 o'clock, and then I usually make time for my daughter at that point. We go out to the park, play whatever it is, and then we normally, because as everyone can see on our Instagram, we're again replying to people from 8 o'clock in the evening. Yes. So yeah, we're trying to get that balance right. We'll get there.
And I think also you kind of need to know what type of a person you are. So you get the morning person, you get the, you know, the late night person. So we're more evening people. We're not really morning people. So that kind of works in our favor.
Like in that same category.
So that works in our favor because we can maximize a lot of our time during the evening and late at night.
Absolutely.
You know, unfortunately it's towards midnight, but that's where we get our energy
and that's
from.
when the baby's sleeping.
But you know, that for me is what's so amazing is so many women who are in their own businesses will say exactly the same thing. Once everybody's asleep, from 12 o'clock around that time is when I get to do my work, and it's the time I get to focus more. So I think there's an insomniac group to be started here.
Definitely.
What do you hope to achieve from the Babaya brand? What do you hope to take it to, or what level? Because this is a proudly South African brand, which I absolutely love. I think anything made in South Africa, anything made from people within our communities is something we should not just be supporting but celebrating. So a huge congratulations to you guys. But where do you want to take this to?
I think it all goes within our vision. So our vision is baby's first abaya, baby's first kurta. So ultimately what our vision is for every baby, when you know their mother wants to purchase for them an abaya, it must be a babaya and not an abaya. So that's the kind of thinking that we're trying to move, or the type of vision that we want to have. That if a baby is born, it must be a babaya and not an abaya.
I love it.
And that's where we want to go, to baby's first abaya.
And the responses from people. How have people been responding to this?
Oh, it's been overwhelming. People love the product. People want the product. People. So another thing that we have is we create.
I'm going to stop you. Sorry, we'll have to come back to that. We've got to take a very quick ad break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation and then speak about the latest trends. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the studio. We're chatting to the founders of Babaya, Saajida, Amod and Yasmin Khan. Sorry Yasmin, just before the ad break we were chatting about the responses that you were getting to this range.
Yes, I was saying it's so overwhelming, and the thing is we only make a certain amount per style, and then we have people flooding our inboxes like, please can you make a plan for us? And we're like, guys, there's very little time.
That's where you come in, because she made a plan for her. It's set the trend.
And now we've actually outsourced it because of the yes.
Now I suppose you have to, because of the growing rate.
Yes.
Before I've still got a few more questions about the name and how you came to that, but first things we need to ask you about is what are the trends for kids for this Eid?
Okay, Saj, I think you got this one.
Okay, so if you look at our Instagram page, we have made 3 different styles of the abayas. We have the pearl romper, which is basically pearl in front, and it's a 2-in-1. So from the front, it looks like it's an abaya, but underneath, it's actually a romper. So that's really cute, and that's for our girls from 0 up until 12 months.
That's fantastic. So besides being comfortable, they also look like they have something on that's an abaya as well.
Yes, and
pearls are very in at the moment.
Yes, and then we also have we call it the Little Miss Extra, because it has some net as well as some satin, and it has a denim band. We've put some flowers on the top, on the bodice, and this is actually in trend with what's going around the world. It's the green thumb trend, so that's your little gardeners, your little, so that's what it speaks to. Then we have the lace garden, which is also in line with the green thumb, and it's floral at the top with the black going down at the bottom.
I have to ask you, when you're mentioning all of this, how do you research or how do you find what's on trend and then match that into something for children that's still comfortable?
So we do a lot of online research, and then some of the things can't really be incorporated. So last year we did a lot of frilly, it was all about the frills, the big sleeves. Now you can't really have big sleeves for children.
Yes.
So what we did was we put the frill around the elbow. So that they don't get irritated.
But we're also lucky in the sense that our fabric shops in South Africa are on trend. So when you go in and you look at the stuff, you can see the fabrics, you find the floral print or whatever's trending at that point. So yeah, that helps.
What I love also is, again, you've thought so much through about how the kids are and how they function, and the fact that it's not just about aesthetics, about putting a frill at the end, it's about putting it here so that it makes the child capable of still moving their arms comfortably.
Yes.
I mean, that's fantastic. I think you really hit the niche market if you're thinking that far in terms of how the kids are developing and how they can enjoy their spaces. What are we looking at for boys?
So for boys, we have the standard classic romper. We've done it in the different colors. So the colors are more towards the expedition trend, which is your little Voyager. Yes. So we've done it in the linen fabric because that talks to expedition, and it also is in a bit of the earthy colors apart from the standard black and white.
And I don't know if you've seen this, so we've improved our keffiyeh scarves.
I'm having a look at that on screen at the moment.
So we've now made it into bubs so that they're versatile and you can also use it as a bub.
That's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful idea, because these little babies are not going to keep this on their heads. They can easily just put that out, and it still fits the entire theme, because those kurtas with this keffiyehs look absolutely fantastic. So this is completely available with the full range, with those keffiyehs for babies all the time as well.
We try to keep it all the time, but it sells out so quickly. So
I know.
hopefully we're hoping to restock on some bubs. They are currently sold out, but it is available. We try to keep it available throughout the year.
Fantastic. You were saying, Yasmin?
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to say one more thing about the kurta rompers. Why we try to keep it available throughout the year is because also when babies are born, they have the naming ceremonies.
Yes.
And before we used to have our boys in these white dresses, and we were like, that's not working. So now we have our kurta romper that we're hoping can come into play.
Absolutely. And I think everybody's always looking for something for their kids. And I know when I had my first daughter, I just wanted everything in that size. And I was saying to the ladies a little bit during the ad break, I almost wish like I had a little baby to keep dressing at this point, because when you see things like that, the quality is absolutely fantastic and those designs are just wonderful, and it just makes the kids feel like they're part of everything, which is wonderful.
Yes. And now I'm at this, we were actually just talking about this, because now my daughter's at this age where she just wants to wear pink. So going forward, we need to figure out how we're going to do for her with Babaya and something pink, because there's probably many girls out there.
I'm telling you, that pink phase is a very strong phase.
Yes. Like, I don't want to wear black, I want to wear pink.
Yes. In terms of this, I mean, the next Eid won't be too long away from here. Are we looking at the same range for the next Eid, or will there be something different that our viewers are able to look forward to?
I don't want to give too much away, but I know for the boys there will still be rompers. We might just tweak it a little bit and come up with new designs. The girls' things should be totally different, I'm sure.
So then we're looking forward to it. And you heard there may be a sneak peek of some pink. So for the young girls out there, you will be well sorted out. Tell me about your name. That's the one thing I always love knowing is how do people come up with the names that they have for their companies?
So, like I said, when I was telling her we should make baby abayas, and she was telling me I'm mad, I'm like, no, we can just make baby abayas and we can call it Babaya. And then it stuck. And now people walk past us and they're just like, I love this name. This name is, they go as crazy about the name as they do for the products.
Because I think it was just so perfectly put together, and it's such a catchy name because you know exactly what you're getting the minute you're looking at it.
Yes.
Which has been wonderful. I have to ask you this, being an online, well, not an online store, a store on social media, and then hopefully moving to an online store, how difficult or how easy is it to manage that? Because, I mean, many of us find our social media taxing as it is because it's just so much to go through, and that's just from a social aspect. This is completely from a business aspect. So is it done differently? Do you see it differently?
I think it's different because of the volumes that you deal with. And recently we've sent out a papaya to Baked Online, and there was such an overwhelming response from all of our followers. And then we were inundated for like a few days trying to get through these messages while trying to maintain our customer service. So yeah, it's very challenging, and that's also why we want to move online, because it will take away a lot of the admin, because now we're like trying to be replying to messages while trying to package our orders. And
But I think it helps being, two of us in the business, because what we do is I'll maybe say, yes, you look at the messages and I will look maybe at the packaging. Or there's times where she would look at the DMs and then I would look at the comments. So we kind of balance it in that way. And it really does help.
And I think you have to find that balance.
Yes.
And you have to figure out how to juggle it all.
Yes. But I think moving forward, definitely we do want to go online. That is one of our goals, inshallah.
And it also keeps you on your phone all the time, because we want to have this good response rate. So we will see us on the phone all the time, and it's bad sometimes.
It's business.
It's business, yes.
You have to do what you have to do. And I think Muslim women are so remarkable in the strength of being able to manage it all and to do it all and to do it with such grace as well. So well done to both of you. When we talk about trends, and we talked about what you're seeing in kids' abayas and that this year, are you seeing it generally in clothes? Do you think people always want an abaya, or are they seeing it generally in other clothes items for kids as well?
I think the trends move away. They're basically in the other items, and we try to interpret it into our abayas. So if you look at your normal t-shirts, your normal pants, your t-shirts are very printed. So we can't really go with like a printed, slogan type of abaya. It doesn't make sense. So we try to interpret it as much as we can into our brand.
So like pearls were trending on the jerseys. I'm sure you've seen them on the coats, and that's why we decided to put it on our abaya. Even like the roses last year. Yes, we tried to bring the motifs in, or I think last year we had like a lipstick range, and we copied the Gucci slipper.
Yes.
And we brought the fur in onto the collar of the abaya, and
And do the kids love it? I mean, I know the mums absolutely love it, but have the kids actually been enjoying wearing it?
So this year we did the Eid Festival, and I think it was the most fun seeing the kids, because they would be walking past and the mum would be like, do you like that? And they would stop and they were like, yes, this is the one I want. And they put it on and they feel like princesses, and we see children that don't want to take it off. And the mum's like, you can't wear this now, it's for Eid.
That's when you know you've got the winning product, when even the kids are definitely in it. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us on It's been such a pleasure to have you, and thank you for sharing with us what the trends are. And we absolutely love the concept that you've taken it and made it practical and given a modest touch for children, which is something that we've never seen, and definitely is a niche. And if I'm not mistaken, this may be the first that we've ever seen of it.
Yes. I think so. I found the ones in Makkah.
But also, I must say, with credit to our proudly South African brand, those are mass marketed and mass made, and these are made specifically for your children. So well done. May you see every success, inshallah. And I'll definitely be placing my order today as well. Thank you so much. That's the team from Babaya, Yasmin, Khan and Saajida Amod. These ladies have definitely found a niche market to make sure our kids are trending in a modest way for Eid. All you've got to do is find them on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll make sure that you get your kids sorted out. Stay tuned. When we come back after the ad break, we're talking all about Eid desserts. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. After chatting to those dynamic ladies about entrepreneurship, how to find yourself in a niche market, and what's trending for our kids this Eid, we are now going to what's trending for Eid desserts. It is very difficult sitting in the studio right now because in front of me I have got this array of desserts. The smell of chocolate and baking is amazing, but it is very, very testing. Asfeyah Mia, the baker that's always extra. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you, Zaheerah?
Alhamdulillah. You are a well-known, not just baker, patisserie chef. You take it to another level completely. What have you been doing since we've last chatted to you?
A few new things, but I think I'm not into the different flavors and that. I still go back to the old flavors and just do it on another level.
That's what I love, is that the flavors are always things that we know, it's fresh, it's things that people love. But what I love about it is you're constantly reinventing it. You're always putting it in a different way, in a different form. How difficult or how easy is it to always stay up and on trend with that?
I think it's just what I would say more my thoughts on everything. I just think about something and then decide, okay, let me try it with this. I'm sure it'll work. And from there it goes to the next level.
And it's still something you enjoy after all these years?
I do. I thoroughly enjoy and I love what I do.
Alhamdulillah. And I think that's the trick of why you're in this business for so many years.
True.
How long has it been now?
Oh man, about 15 years now.
Alhamdulillah. I think you've definitely set the standards, and what's amazing is even after 15 years, you're still setting the trends.
I'm glad.
With people wondering, I know on so many chats, people are sitting and discussing, oh, what do they need to get sorted out for Eid? And the mums are wondering, the family members are wondering, what are they doing for Eid desserts, for their Eid tables, for their baking? What are your suggestions in terms of what's trending at the moment that we should be having on our tables?
I think go simple. Because of Ramadan, nobody wants to stress about buying ingredients and doing something on another level. Go simple, but just do it up. Make it look wow. Like I said, that's an ordinary cheesecake. It's just got baklava on it.
Okay, I don't think that's ordinary for most of us, right? So we'll zoom into each one, and I think we'll talk about the desserts as well. But before we get into that, let's just continue. You were saying a little bit about the flavors. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple, especially because it's Ramadan. I think any other occasion it's fine, because then you're running here and running there to pick up everything else. This is what you would normally have at home. Your basic ingredients, coffee, which we all use. Yes. And it's nothing to go out and look for. It's what you have, or what you can pop into your nearest supermarket and pick up. You don't have to go to an exclusive bakery shop or something like that.
It needs to be easy.
It needs to be easy, because obviously you're fasting and you want to get in and get out of wherever you're going to be able to produce what you need for Eid.
And what I love about that also is that you're still making the most of the time that you need for praying and the most of those blessed days, so you're not overtaxing yourself. Yeah. But I'm sure you're going to give us some tips on how to decorate it so that we can go that extra notch as well.
Sure. Sure, definitely.
I know, I mean, I'm sitting here and the smells of these are absolutely amazing. Tell us a little bit. On screen at the moment, we've got the chocolate cups.
Okay, that's a tiramisu on the inside. Normal, just a normal coffee cake at the bottom with your tiramisu filling, and then just the chocolate wall put around it. And the handles are done freestyle. So fantastic. It's just a bit of chocolate on a wax paper and just popped on it, which makes it go to another level.
Absolutely, and I love that. And I love the fact that you so easily share that, how easy that would be. Is just doing the chocolate design on wax wrap, just put it onto the cup and
use your ordinary plastic sheet, cut it according to size, place your chocolate on there, melt your chocolate, place it on there, and then turn it around your tiramisu, and it's done.
And you've got your chocolate cups.
You've got your chocolate cups.
Fantastic. And those look very elegant and something very easy to eat. And like you said, it's actually one of our favorite flavors, which is the tiramisu.
And it's winter. And tiramisu is good for winter because it gives you that coffee warm feeling.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And in the front of the chocolate
cup? The famous pavlovas, but done on a different level. No, because strawberries are in season, and I think to add extra strawberries, I think that would be ideal for the Eid table.
So we've just got the simple pavlova filled
with a bit of strawberry at the bottom, cream, and then just decorated, but not with all the fruit like we would normally do, because then you would get more fruit. You're going to get, it's strawberry season at the moment.
And the tip to also making sure the pavlovas don't get soggy in that is to just put the fruit layer first.
Exactly, at the bottom. Or what you can do, you take your pavlova, take melted white chocolate, and then you would just coat the whole inside of the pavlova in white chocolate. So obviously all your moisture doesn't go into the pavlova, and you'll still have that crisp feeling.
That's a fantastic tip to share. I think many of us didn't know that, so that's a wonderful idea.
Yes.
So, and that obviously you can also do beforehand.
Yes, so what you do is you can bake up your bottoms before, even a week in advance, and then you can already put your chocolate in so it dries up nicely, and then do your cream. You don't have to do it last minute because you've got that chocolate that's soaking up the moisture.
Absolutely, and that there you can also just store in an airtight container for a while?
For a while.
Perfect. And then on that day, earlier the day, you can just whip up your cream, put it in, and you're
then
ready to go.
You're ready to go, yes.
You're making us making it very easy for us to look like we're somewhat good bakers.
No, I'm sure you can. It's not a train smash. It's easy.
Fantastic.
Okay, in the front we have eclairs, normal eclairs. It's got a custard at the bottom, it's got caramel on the inside, and it's just the cream that's decorated on the top. It's got your normal edible flowers, which you can pick up at most of the fruit shops or at a supermarket. And it's just got a twirl of chocolate on the top.
Fantastic. And you mentioned the different flavors with eclairs. That's been my favorite thing over the last few months. How do you choose the flavors that would work if you want to just mix it up a little bit and put a different flavor eclair? Because you mentioned caramel, you mentioned chocolate.
I think you need to get pairing of flavors. If you do something in chocolate, then you would use orange, preferably orange. You could use something, but they go together. If you would use rose, then maybe a coconut flavor that would complement that.
Yes.
And I think go more the easier way down than to go to exotic flavors, and then you have this. Although I'd stay away from lavender, it's a bit overpowering, especially if you throw too much inside.
Yes.
So just watch what you use, because some of the flavors, if too much is put in, it tends to get.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't work, and then you have this mix match in your mouth, and you don't know what's
happening.
It's not happening at all. Yeah.
And again, also with the eclairs, how ahead of time can we prep those?
You can do your eclairs a day. I would do it a day before, not more than that.
Okay.
Do it a day before, put it in an airtight container, and then you can do the prepping. You can use your flavors as you want on the day that you're using it, because it's nice when it's nice and fresh and it's crispy on the inside.
Absolutely. I have to ask you a very quick question. If ladies are preparing the choux pastry beforehand, like you mentioned the day before, on the day when you're doing the filling, do you need to just pop it back in the oven, or are you fine?
You're fine, but you could pop it just to give it that extra crunch on the outside.
Okay.
Okay, and you can, and choux pastry is versatile. You can do anything with choux pastry. Long, short, round, squared, it's a bit difficult to do it. So I think stick to the long, to the round.
What looks elegant.
Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And these look very, very elegant. And I love the fact that it's a simple touch of just that edible flour on top of it.
Yeah, not too much.
Not too much. And it works perfectly, because the nice part about that is we get to eat it. All right, let's go through here.
Okay, that's your fruit tartlet. It's got a custard filling on the inside, and then it's got your fruit on the top. Again, there's strawberries, because strawberries in season. A bit of green, just to pick up the whole...
Yes.
And make it look edible. Like we always say, we eat with our eyes, nose,
Definitely.
and then the mouth.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then with the tartlets, again, the same thing. How do we protect the base?
The tartlets can be made, especially if you're using butter. You can use the tartlets, you can make it about 3 to 4 weeks in advance, store it in an airtight container. You're not going to have a problem with it.
Fantastic.
It'll stay very nicely. And as you want, I think with the tartlet base, it's easy, and you can use a lot in a tartlet. You could even put a chocolate ganache in the tartlet base. You could put mint, something minty inside. There's a lot of things that you can do with the tartlet.
Yes.
Any base, a tartlet base, it's you can put any flavor you would like to have.
You
inside.
mentioned finding like a good tartlet, a butter-based one.
Yes.
How do we know, with so many of us looking to just buy the ready-made ones, how do you know which ones are the good ones, which ones are the ones that would hold better? I
know the ready-made ones are slightly thicker, although if you make them homemade, Then you have that nice thin touch on it.
This is Auntie Asfeyah's way of making sure you all know that you have to start making your own tartlets at home.
Yeah, it doesn't. It sounds like it takes long, but it doesn't. Once you have your tartlet dough and you have your tartlet pans, it doesn't. I promise you, it does not take long, and it takes about. I think it's quicker to bake a tartlet than to bake a cake.
Okay, this can only come from a woman who's been in the business for 15 years who can say it's so easy and quick, don't worry about it. Stay tuned. When we come back after the ad break, we're going to continue our conversations on what else is on our e-tables for desserts and how we're going to get that extra flavor and that extra flair that makes these simple desserts e-table ready. Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the last segment of iTrend on ITV. We're chatting to baking connoisseur Asfeyah Mia. If you know baking, you know Asfeyah's name. She's been in this industry for over 15 years, always setting the trends. I remember years ago when people started discussing her, it was things that no one had seen. It was baking that was just not only good to see, but amazing to taste. And still today, 15 years later, she's still the go-to person for baking. So who better to have on our show than Asfeyah herself to tell us what to get onto our tables to make sure that we eat ready. Asfeyah, we've discussed a whole lot of that, trying to convince us that we can make our own tartlets. I won't buy into that just yet. But let's talk a little bit about this cheesecake.
Okay, it's a baklava cheesecake, but the bottom, your biscuit layer, should add a bit of cinnamon inside, so it gives you that baklava feeling. Because cinnamon and baklava are the flavors that go together.
Yes.
And then you would do your mixture for your cream cheese mixture on the inside, and take your, just bake up a tray of baklava and crush it and put it on top, and you've got your baklava.
I love how easy
cheese.
you make that sound. Just bake up a tray of baklava and you can throw that on.
and with baklava like that, you don't have to have the sheets and everything perfectly because you're going to crush it.
That's what I absolutely love about it. I love the fact that it all looks like it's different sizes, but it just looks really perfect when you're looking at this cheesecake. And I love the baklava flavor for winter as well.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
it's a
the cinnamon.
Favorite. Yes.
The cinnamon itself gives you that warm feeling. Yeah.
Absolutely. And here,
coffee mousse.
Okay. I've been wondering because I'm smelling this all the way from here.
Coffee mousse, but the shards of chocolate, instead of putting your straight shards, I made something a bit different. It's also made at home. It's a little mold that you would, you don't have to have that. When you walk into a shop and you see something that you like, just try and think of how you can use it. I think these have been in the shops for a while. It's just the level that I've taken them up. Instead of putting it on top, I put them at the bottom.
I love
it just looks different.
I love this. And like you're saying, all you've got to do is you've got this coffee mousse that you've set.
Yeah.
All you have to do then is just figure out different ways to decorate it.
Yes, think out of the box.
I love it. I love it. And I must say, you are always perfect and everything looks neat and exact, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's what I like. I'm very particular of what my end product looks like, and I want everything, even though it's a housewife, but it has to have a professional look.
I don't think anyone can call you anything but professional. From all these years that I've known you, everything that comes out of your place is always professional, alhamdulillah. And I think that's what sets you apart and the pride that you can take in the work that you do, which is absolutely fantastic.
I hate something that doesn't look right. It must look perfect.
And it definitely does. So, and with mousses, I know the coffee mousse is a big hit with many people. Like you said, it's a flavor that's easy to get. It's in our cupboards.
Yes, it's your normal coffee, instant coffee that you're using. Just take a bit of coffee, put it into a cup, use a bit of water inside, warm it up, and you have your flavor already. So it's not going out looking for a coffee essence or anything.
Yes.
It's normal coffee that you have, and add that to your mousse mixture, and you will get a coffee mousse.
As easy as that.
As easy as that.
Which is fantastic. And I like the fact that it's not just another essence that's being used, but it's something in your home.
I try to, I do stay away from all products. I would rather do everything fresh.
And which is why the taste is always so nice. And
I
it doesn't taste like
those
something
products,
that's packaged.
Packaged, no. I hate packaged products. I would rather do it. In fact, I find it easier to do it from scratch than to use a product.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, but look, I think, granted, you are a professional, so it would take you far less time than it would for the rest of us.
Yes, but you'll get there.
But I love the array and the variety of things that you've given us. I love the fact that they're small and bite-sized so that people can enjoy it without there being too much of wastage.
I think that would be the trend to go. Everything is bite-sized, and nobody wants. I think if it's big, the first person that takes it's already messed. So one person takes it, you still have that look on your table.
Absolutely, and it makes it easier for everyone.
It makes it easier for everybody.
That's it. I know when we were discussing a little bit off air, we spoke about any simple dessert people are making at home or baking. The thing to make it a little bit extra, the Asfeyah extra, is in our decorations.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that and what's trending.
Okay, at the moment, some of it is done freehand, but this is a product that is, I think, going to be trending now in South Africa. It's an array of different types of chocolates. I'm sure if you get something like that, which I will be introducing, and you can contact me for the details for these, and then you would just use it onto your product, which will just take it a step higher.
I absolutely love that. I think if our cameras can screen in a little bit onto that, which is fantastic.
It's basically, that's a fan, that's a 2-color fan, and a chocolate, and then you've got your chocolate swirls. You can use the chocolate swirls as a whole one, or you can break them in half and then use them, which I think will work quite well.
And the fans are what you've put onto the
And the
mousse
fans
as well.
is what I've put on, and then the little swirls I've put onto the...
Which is fantastic. And I think the wonderful idea with that is that getting something like this makes our lives so much easier. It makes us look professional because everything's ready and you just get to put it on.
I think so. I think it's easier to use something like this, and it does give you a better look on in the end.
It gives it that more professional look.
But I can even tell you how to make these. If you would want to attempt it, yeah.
Let's go into that, because I know there must be somebody out there who's saying, maybe I can try making this.
Okay, this is made, the fans are made with just chocolate being put onto your tabletop, and then you would use a little scraper just to, basically it's just pushed across like that just before it gets dry, and you carry on doing that and you would get perfect fans. The other one is just to put your brown chocolate, your white chocolate, your brown chocolate, your white chocolate, and you do the same thing.
And she makes it sound like it's so easy. In a blink of an eye, you can just get a fan.
Yes, you could just hold your scraper and turn it, and it'll form into a fan. There's nothing that you have to use. You just have to push that.
But it's also about using the right chocolate.
Yes. Okay. I don't think you would use tempered chocolate, which would stay nice and crispy as well. You can use your normal chocolate, but the taste isn't there.
Yes. Yeah. And also, I noticed, like, you can't actually use store-bought chocolate because that also melts too fast because of the amount of sugar in it.
And you're not supposed to use Cadbury's. You use your baking chocolate. But you would use a compound chocolate. You wouldn't use the normal, you wouldn't use a compound chocolate, because the compound chocolate is not something that the taste in a compound chocolate is not nice.
So we're looking at other chocolates as well?
Yes, we're looking at other chocolates.
Okay, perfect. So don't go in and buy packets of compound chocolate. Yes. It's not going to work for that.
No, it's not. Definitely not going to work for that.
So we're looking at, as you're saying, the edible flowers, the fruits in season, and the chocolate decorations.
Yeah, well, I think it's basically when I do things, I would rather not go out and look for these. It's what I get at my normal supermarket, which makes it easier. And then you don't become frustrated. Oh, I need this, but I need to get to that particular place to get that, and it's a schlep getting there. And with the traffic around here, I think we'd rather go to the closest place that we want.
Absolutely. Asfeyah Mia, it's always such a pleasure to have you on air. I think you are such a light for so many of us, and you make things sound so easy for all of us and make it sound so accessible, which is what I absolutely love. You're never short of sharing your tips and ideas, and for that we will be forever grateful. So jazakallah khair to you.
Barakallah. Thanks for having me on the show, Zaheerah.
It's been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your Ramadan, inshallah, and we look forward to coming to pick up some chocolate decorations and our Eid goodies as well.
No problem at all.
That's Asfeyah Mia, baking connoisseur, the lady who's always willing to share with us how to make our Eid tables look a little bit extra. I love the way she does it, because even after 15 years of being in the business, she'll make sure that the most simplest of things just looks absolutely perfect. And that's what we want to give to our families, because as being Muslims, it's all about finding Jamilun, beauty in everything that we do. And this is what she gives us as well. So while you've got your pens and papers clicking on how your Eid tables will look and what will be on your Eid tables, enjoy the rest of the week. Remember us in your du'as, and inshallah we'll see you next week, same time, same place. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.